Many people visit Scotland every year to experience the wonderful landscape, rich culture and warmth of the people. I made my way to Moray, famous for its whisky, and discovered a village that has inspired my interest in Scottish culture. It is the little village of Fochabers, located on the River Spey, that is the focus of my Scottish experience. Join me as I explore Fochabers and its rich heritage. I have been fortunate to be joined by my wife, colleague and collaborator, Adèle, and some of the wonderful students from Dundalk Institute of Technology. Speyfest is central to my experience of Fochabers, a taste of both tradition and creativity in Scottish music. For over 2 decades, it has introduced local audiences to an incredible array of artists, showcased local performers, and inspired a community of musicians. Founded by James Alexander in 1980, the Fochabers Fiddlers is comprised largely of pupils, past and present, from Milnes High School. The impetus for starting the group was a trip to the Shetland Islands, organised by Alexander with David Ferguson, the then minister of Belly Church. The Fiddlers have travelled to America and Germany and return each year to perform at the festival in Fochabers. As James has retired from his position, the opening concert now features the renamed group, the Milnes Fiddlers, named for the famous school. Alexander Davidson now heads the group. Many of these musicians also participated in the sessions we experienced. Speyfest is a major production that treats audiences to a range of music. Many groups draw on traditions from Scotland, Ireland and beyond, and through their creativity and composition, develop new sounds for a contemporary audience, just as William Marshall did 2 centuries ago. Born in Fochabers in 1748, William Marshall is considered by many to be one of the greatest composers of Scottish fiddle music. Employed by the Duke of Gordon at his estate on the outskirts of the town, he was not only a fine fiddle player, but also a clockmaker. His contemporary, the great Scottish poet Robert Burns, called him the first composer of strathspeys of the age. In the past few years, groups appearing at Speyfest include Fluke, Skerry Vord, Rura and Skipinish. It is the headline acts that reflect James Alexander's desire to showcase the best of Celtic music.
Speyfest, it's a celebration of Celtic music in its widest sense and Celtic traditions, craft. So basically just an overall celebration of Celtic traditions, music being the main reason for it.
Part of Speyfest has always been to encourage people from a wide area, from across the border, and indeed from Ireland. We have had dance groups over here, and it's about getting people mixing, getting people doing things, and the audience love it.
In 1994, I was involved in a fundraising event for the local high school. So we were looking to raise money for a minibus at the time, and with the fiddle group that I ran, we were often out and about doing community stuff, so the idea of getting a minibus was just great. So we put together a 2-day mini farm fete, if you want, and as part of that, a group of fiddlers, pupils of mine, were playing on the back of a lorry at the farm. Hundreds of people were there. The crack was good, the atmosphere was good. I've been thinking about a festival for some time to host and hosted by Fochabers, but different from all the other festivals that were around here, like the Traditional Music and Song Association, folk festivals, something that would involve Celtic music in its wider sense, even some of the more cutting edge contemporary bands at that time, like Wolfstone. Young people were starting to associate with these bands, and what intrigued me about it was these bands were keeping old tunes alive but putting a totally different backing to them. So I just said a festival in Fochabers of that kind, thought nothing of it. So about 3 weeks later somebody phoned me up and says, See, that idea you had about a festival in Fochabers, were you serious? And I thought, what festival, what idea? And it was born from that, it's a wee seed sown.
In 2018, friends of James Alexander joined him on stage for the highlight of the festival. Born near Buckie, James has had an enormous influence on local musical culture. Those on stage included Paul Anderson from Tarland and Charlie McCarran of the band Capercaillie. James's old school friend, Dougie Lawrence, sat beside him amidst members of the Fochabers Fiddlers, the group that James established. Gregor Borland, who has recently returned to Scotland from a period in Spain, sat beside James's daughter Claire. Amongst the many other former students was Mary Marwick, who now teaches in the area and directs the Fochabers Fiddle Week, along with Jack Smedley of the band Rura. Amongst the artists to push the boundaries of traditional music is Scottish fiddle player and composer Adam Sutherland, who appeared in 2018 with his band featuring music from his album Some Other Land. Baxter's Food Company is an important employer in the area, and the Baxter's Highland Village hosts the workshops in music, song and dance, which are an important part of the Speyfest programme. In 2016 and 2018, staff and students from Dundalk Institute of Technology in Ireland facilitated these workshops, catering for a range of levels and culminating in a performance at the festival. These experiences inspired my composition, The Shy Octopus, which was included in the 2018 workshops. The workshops are an occasion for fun and further reflect the connection between the festival and the local community. My visits to Fochabers and my growing interest in its people and history inspired my song, The Ghosts of Fochabers. I met with the ghosts of Fochabers one day as I walked in the woods. They told me their names and their stories and held me as long as they could. They told me their tales of past glories, filled up my mind with their deeds. So I'll tell you a tale of Fochabers, a place I am glad I have been. In the graveyard out by Gordon Castle, the strains of a fiddle I heard, being played by a gent William Marshall, who served in the house of the laird. He composed the finest of strathspeys, some named for the sights here around. He too was a great mathematician, but now he lies under the ground. He played me the fruits of his labour, strathspeys and marches and reels. I felt I was being transported, I could not stop tapping my heel. Well, the next man I met on my journey was a brigand who lies on the hill, tried and hanged rightly or wrongly for robbing folk from Aberdeen. Now Ranald was chief of the tinkers who camped on the hills near the town, robbing unfortunate travellers who surely had done him no wrong. He robbed me of time but not money, as I stopped here to gather my breath, for the next man I met on my journey chatted with me untroubled by death. The first parish pastor of Belly, after reform of the church, lived to 107, now his ashes lie under the earth. His church it was knocked by the Gordons for being too close to their home, but his stone is a worthy reminder of all the great work that he done. Farewell to you, William Saunders, and the 5 generations you served, to the Baxters, MacDonalds and Marshalls who sleep in this peaceful graveyard. Now back to the village I wander, saying hello to the Duke. Passing the castle's walled garden, I asked if I could have a look. Beyond the front gates of the castle is a garden remembering the names of many more ghosts of Fochabers who in life found their fortune and fame. They fought in the wars between countries, were businessmen who changed the world, giving back to the town of Fochabers treasures worth much more than gold. Now farewell to the ghosts of Fochabers, many men who have lived out their lives, and now welcome a humble wayfarer who walks through the woods of Speyside. I'll drink to your health and your fortune, sing of your stories and deeds. Perhaps I'll return here to visit, and walk once again through the trees.